Get ready, because we are diving deep into a Hollywood drama with more twists and turns than an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
And we've got receipts.
Oh, we do. We have the receipts, the Justin Baldoni-Blake Lively lawsuit. And let me tell you, these text messages Baldoni just released are next level juicy.
It's messy.
It is messy. It's fascinating, and we are going to try to break it all down.
Yeah, unpack all this drama.
So we are talking about what went down on the set of It Ends With Us, the movie adaptation of Colleen Hoover's bestseller.
A lot of people are talking about this.
They are, and for good reason. I mean, just the names involved, Justin Baldoni, you know him from Jane the Virgin, and now he's directing and starring in these buzzy book adaptations.
And Blake Lively, I mean, come on, Gossip Girl, a simple favor. She's Hollywood royalty.
Exactly. So to have them at odds like this is major.
And the lawsuit itself is pretty wild. Baldoni's going after Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist
For a cool $400 million.
Bro,
Alleging defamation and extortion.
those are some serious accusations.
They are. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of those text messages, can you give us a little legal 101? What exactly do those terms mean in this context?
Okay, so defamation, that's basically when someone damages your reputation by making false statements about you, like publicly saying things that aren't true and that harm your career or your personal life.
So like slander, but in writing or on social media?
Exactly. And then there's extortion, which is essentially trying to get something from someone, usually money, by using threats or intimidation.
Got it. So Baldoni's claiming that Lively and her team basically trashed his name and tried to shake him down for cash.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. Now, proving that in court is a whole other story.
Oh, for sure. There's a high burden of proof for these kinds of claims.
Absolutely. Baldoni's legal team is going to have to present some pretty compelling evidence to convince a jury that Lively and her people were intentionally malicious and that their actions directly caused him harm.
Right. So let's get to the good stuff, those text messages.
Everyone's been waiting for this.
I know. The one that everyone's been buzzing about is Lively describing her communication style as flirty and yummy ball busting. She even calls it her love language.
That definitely raised some eyebrows.
To say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you make of that in the context of this whole lawsuit?
Well, I think it really highlights the whole issue of perception and how intent can be totally misinterpreted, especially in a high-pressure environment like a movie set.
Yeah, people are already on edge.
Totally. So what Lively might have intended as like playful banter, you know, her being her usual witty self,
Oh, she's known for that.
could totally come across to someone else as inappropriate or even aggressive.
Especially given the power dynamics at play.
Oh, absolutely. She's the star of the movie. He's the director.
There's a clear imbalance there.
For sure. And that's something Baldoni's lawyers will likely try to exploit. You know, they'll probably argue that Lively's communication style created a hostile work environment.
So those texts could actually backfire on her.
Potentially. It all depends on how it's framed by both sides.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out in court.
Yeah, will the jury see Lively as this, like, sharp-tongued but harmless character?
Or will they buy into the idea that she was intentionally trying to undermine Baldoni?
Exactly.
And then there's that text from Ryan Reynolds.
Ooh, yeah, the one where he's singing Baldoni's praises.
Yeah, he's like gushing over him, talking about how excited he is for them to work together.
And that just seems to complicate the whole narrative of the lawsuit.
Totally.
Yeah.
If Reynolds was truly Team Baldoni, as that text suggests, why is he even named in the suit?
Right, good question. Was he actually involved in any of the alleged scheming behind the scenes?
Or is this a strategic move by Baldoni's team to kind of muddy the waters and make Lively look even worse?
Ooh, I like that theory.
Right? It's like they're saying, look, even her own husband thought this guy was great.
Exactly. And that could definitely sway public opinion.
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
But I guess we'll have to wait and see if those texts actually hold up as evidence in court.
All right, remember, there are rules about what's admissible and what's not.
Okay, so moving on to another juicy tidbit, the conversation about the intimacy coordinator.
Ah, yes, this is a big one.
Lively mentions in a text that she'd prefer to meet with them once filming starts.
Which, in the context of this lawsuit, raises a lot of questions.
Definitely. Can you explain for our listeners what an intimacy coordinator does and why this could be seen as a red flag?
Sure. So intimacy coordinators, they've become pretty standard on film and TV sets these days, especially for scenes that involve any kind of physical contact or intimacy.
Which It Ends With Us definitely has.
Right, a lot of it. Their role is to basically ensure that those scenes are handled with sensitivity and respect.
So it's all about making the actors feel safe and comfortable.
Exactly. And historically, Hollywood hasn't always had the best track record when it comes to this stuff.
There have been a lot of horror stories.
Yeah, unfortunately. So intimacy coordinators are there to help prevent any kind of misconduct or exploitation.
So Lively not wanting to meet with them until filming begins could be seen as a little odd.
It's definitely something that could be used against her.
Right? It could be spun as her being resistant to this new industry standard. We're not taking it seriously enough.
Exactly. Especially in light of everything else that's going on.
So not necessarily damning on its own, but maybe part of a larger pattern of behavior.
Right, it all goes back to context.
Okay. Last text I want to touch on is the one where Lively invites Baldoni to her trailer to discuss lines.
Yes, this one's tricky.
Because on the surface, it seems pretty harmless, right?
Yeah, actors rehearse lines together all the time. It's totally normal.
But in the context of this lawsuit, it could take on a whole different meaning.
Absolutely. Baldoni's lawyers might try to use this as evidence that Lively was blurring professional boundaries.
And that could play into their whole argument about her creating a hostile work environment.
Right. And then it'll be up to Lively's team to counter that. How will they spin it?
Will they say it was purely professional?
Or could they even claim that it was Baldoni who initiated the meeting?
Oh man, so many possibilities.
And we only have these snippets of their communication. It's like a tiny window into this much larger drama.
Right, like the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. There's so much we still don't know.
But it definitely raises a lot of important questions about power dynamics in Hollywood and how we navigate these kinds of situations.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? What are the potential consequences of this lawsuit for all the parties involved?
Well, I think the stakes are incredibly high. This case could set a precedent for how communication boundaries and consent are handled on set moving forward.
You mean like more stringent protocols?
Potentially greater awareness around these issues, and maybe even more reliance on legal teams to manage these kinds of situations.
Wow, so it could actually change the industry as a whole.
It could.
Yeah.
And on a personal level, this case could have a lasting impact on the reputations of everyone involved.
Regardless of who wins or loses.
Exactly. It's going to be hard to escape the shadow of this lawsuit.
Hollywood is all about perception.
Right. Even the hint of scandal can be incredibly damaging.
Like a cautionary tale playing out in real time.
And it's far from over.
Oh, yeah. This thing could drag on for years.
Who knows what other twists and turns are in store?
We'll be here for every single one of them. So what are your thoughts? Is there more to this story than meets the eye? What are we missing? Keep those theories coming as we continue to follow this wild ride.
We need to know.
We need to know. Until next time, stay tuned.
And stay juicy.
And stay cheesy.
Bye.
Bye.